What is going on, everybody? Hope you're having a great weekend or maybe a Monday morning if this makes it onto an episode of Wake Up Warchant. That over there is Michael Langston. He's recruiting analyst for Warchant.com, the ultimate Seminoles sports source. I'm Aslan Hajivandi. Thank you so much for being here. This is our YouTube channel. It's totally free. You should check it out. Subscribe to it. Somewhere underneath Michael, I think. Just tap subscribe, tap the bell, and you're good to go. Actually, I lied. They need to do something else to be good to go. What's that, Michael?
Hit the free motion of like button. Always hit the like button. To help us promote all these fantastic videos, not just recruiting but team stuff. And certainly, we want you to promote it. We want to promote this as much as we can. So hit that like button for us.
Absolutely. All right. So we reconvene after a pretty busy weekend for Florida State in terms of recruiting stuff, Michael. The Noles land two commitments on Saturday, D.D. Holmes, and then followed by Ricky Knight. We got a long weekend ahead of us, but just to kind of catch everybody up on Holmes first to pop. I mean, this is a guy at a position of need from a very storied program at Gonzaga Prep in Washington, D.C. Tweeted it out over there on Saturday. What sort of impact do you think he'll have to this class and at least addressing the need for the Noles here in the short term?
Yeah, it was a big pickup for them. Obviously, they didn't get Dylan Stevenson, who they led for a while, and then so they didn't have a defensive in commit in this class. So adding a premier guy like this that has a lot of length, speed, great edge rusher, knows how to get after the quarterback. Sure, there's some technique stuff that you want to clean up, but that goes for a lot of talented four stars in. But I think as an edge rusher, he adds a lot of value to what you're doing as a program. I think his feel for the program will, the impact will probably be maybe a year after he's been there. But I think he's a guy that can flash a little bit in that first year. But tremendous pickup. They did a great job. Officially visited on the 23rd. That really knocked out of the park. You can read the story on the front page. I got up with Didi last night. Really good. Really just really open about how that official visit really just kind of locked the door and slammed it shut, that it was going to be FSU. But I think it's a massive pickup because they don't have a lot of guys. We've seen a lot of offensive recruits, but they don't have many defensive recruits in there. So they need somebody to kind of cover the other side of the ball. And I think Didi's a really good start for them.
Yeah. That did not end the good news on Saturday for the Noles, and they went ahead and got a defensive back. Golly, wish you could report to camp right now and help out. That'd be great. I think we need some help there, but whatever. That's for another topic for another day. Ricky Knight, uh, obviously an athlete, but probably on the back end of this defense. Uh, what do you think it means to have him in the fold now, Michael?
Yeah, it's really good because I like what he does versatility wise. He's a guy that can play corner, he can play safety. He's diverse. He plays on the offensive side of the ball. You know, as far as in high school, so I think he adds a lot of just different value. And he's a guy that kind of blew up in the spring, where a lot of people took notice of him. I think he had a few combines and camps. I think the Under Armour camp, he won the DB MVP there. You had guys like four-star Kai Bates was there, four-star Zay Mincy was there, and he's the guy that won the MVP. So overall, I think he was the complete package of what they were looking for in that event. So I think he's a guy that's really just blown up. They beat Miami out for him. Miami was pushing to try to get him visited officially Miami the last weekend, but I think I've said this from the start. I think FSU was his first offer. I think FSU was the preferred destination for Ricky from the start. I think as long as FSU wanted him, this was going to be a guy that would probably end up at FSU. That's what we didn't know is like, is he a take? Because there's so many DBs out there for FSU. But I think as the process went on, and then that weekend where you visit on officially for FSU on June 16th, you really got to feel like, hey, this guy's coveted. They want him in there. It's likely going to happen. And then shortly after that, I think we started seeing some predictions for FSU. But really versatile athlete that I love. I think is going to add a lot to their program. Not going to be a guy that you need to lean on the first years, but I think he's a guy that you can bring along at your own pace. What I like about his game is his press man cover skills are very good, and he's long. He's got some really long arms for a DB, so he can really close on those passing windows. So I think that's kind of some of the things I think that Patrick Surtain liked about him. Just watching him, and he's just a playmaker. If you watch a lot of his highlights, I mean, he's everywhere. He's now going to be at Cardinal Newman. That's the same school as Kevin Levy, who's likely I feel to end up at FSU as well. That's his cousin. So I think certainly a solid pickup and a guy. People have asked me that a guy that I feel like is going to be probably a consensus 4-star when it all shakes out.
Okay. I was about to shout out the Benjamin School and Jordan Travis, but we got to go to Cardinal Newman now to give him some love. All
Yeah,
right, Michael. So with all that, I saw a tweet like Florida State vaults up the rankings. Probably not where a lot of fans want them to be. I mean, they're still 14th.
right.
But I guess the good news is that July is just starting. And the 4th of July, obviously, there's going to be lots of fireworks for all you at home. Um, cheesy pun. What are you going to do, everybody? But it's going to be a really busy day for you, probably me as well. Several guys set to commit. How about you run through a couple of these guys' names that people need to know that will be committing? We assume they've announced that they will announce on the 4th.
Yeah, it's going to be busy, a busy 4th of July and a busy July in general. I think Elijah Moore has already come out like he's going to announce his decision. 4-star wide receiver, he will announce. So you have him coming up. I feel really good about FSU's chances there. I think they get some good news there. And then also you have another 4-star big receiver. Both these guys are big receivers. James Madison. I checked just to make sure. I get the indication that he would be a take in this class. So that's a guy I'll be keeping monitoring, closely. Now, a guy that hasn't like labeled July 4th, but I'm sensing that he likely, probably decides on July 4th is Jonathan Daniels. That's a 5-star offensive lineman out of Pensacola. He's a guy that I feel really good about as well. That FSU gets good news there when he does do it. He hasn't set the specific date, but I think it might be just kind of one of those surprise things that he just pops it and announces. But I really like FSU's position there. Officially visited on the 23rd as well. Did a really good job. Alex Atkinson is very involved in that recruitment from the start. And there's a different feel when it comes to FSU. So I think you have those guys coming up. You also have Rydarius Morgan out of Phoenix City, Alabama, 3-star safety that FSU offered late in the spring. They've got him up on campus a few times, even officially visited on the June 2nd. I want to say, and he's a guy that I also have heard some trending rumblings that FSU's trending in the right direction. He's also going to announce on July 4th, so it's going to be a very active, July 4th for FSU. I feel.
Does he go by the name Red? Some people call him Red.
Yes, yeah, Rydarius Red Morgan.
Okay, cool. I couldn't. Like, I'm
Yeah,
like, hey, how? First off, no offense, but how am I going to spell Rydarius? But then I'm like, oh, there we go. Phoenix City represent right on the
yeah,
border there between Alabama and Georgia.
yeah,
Um, Kylan Fox is he supposed to come in on the 4th? Or we just are we that
yeah.
ship sailed to Orlando?
Kylan will be announcing on the 4th as well. I'm expecting UCF, as I pointed out multiple times. But as far as guys that I feel like there's a legit shot with FSU is those are the guys I mentioned. But yeah, Kylan Fox, I feel like it's likely going to be UCF, but we're still going to monitor it. You never know. FSU's still working it. I told people they're going to work it until that final announcement happens. So I know they're still working the angles, trying to get him in, trying to focus on the fit, not so much the number and being the number one guy. So I think they're still working it, but right now I would expect UCF at this point.
And for the folks that are listening to us on audio format, just to catch everybody up on all these guys, D.D. Holmes, 6'6", 240-pound defensive end, defensive lineman, I guess some people might want to say. Ricky Knight, 6'1", 167 defensive back, as Michael hinted at, probably moving towards 4-star
Right.
ranking status. Jonathan Daniels, we on 3 have him as a 5-star, but he's a consensus 4-star, about 6'5", 275 offensive lineman out of Pensacola. And then Red Morgan, 5'11", 175 out of Phoenix City, Alabama. Those are the guys that probably will be committing, we think, on the 4th, as well as Elijah Moore, 6'4", 190 out of Maryland. So lots of length, lots of athleticism, lots of grown blank men, a coach that
Yeah.
used to be around here said. So stay connected to warchant.com and everything going on over on the premium recruiting board, Michael, because you're not taking the weekend off. You're not taking the holiday off, are you?
No, I'll be around. And there might be some surprises. We'll see. We'll keep track of these things are happening so fast. And then also get yourself ready on July 28th. You have Charles Lester, 5-star, announcing that's another big one for FSU. So July is going to be a very active month for FSU. I'm thinking they could get around 6 or 7, if not a little more than that, additions added to this class. I think we already saw 2 of those, but I think you could see more. So expect that number 14 to go up a little bit more. When this all shakes out, I think FSU could be pretty high up there in the rankings.
Well, yeah, let me get on this one here, Michael. Next time we do one of these, do you think Florida State will be in the top 10?
Yes, I
Okay.
do.
Okay.
I do. I can never predict when we're going to do the next one of these, but
Well, I'm saying like in a week from now, like if we do this next Sunday, for example, right now.
yeah, I
Uh,
think if they get what they're supposed to get, I think there's a good chance they'll be inside or at the top 10 mark. And then if they get who I think they're going to get for the rest of July, I think there's certainly I think we'll be inside that top 10 mark. So certainly a lot of activity is going to happen in July. This is expected. This is planned. They've kind of orchestrated this. Of I think they wanted some July decisions right before the season. We're in a dead period right now, so it's a perfect time to get some decisions and get some momentum going. And I think that's the main thing: get a little momentum going before you kick off this big FSU season where they kick off against LSU.
well said. That's Michael Langston. I'm Aslan. Thanks for watching. Again, hit that thumbs up. Good news to share for you folks. We appreciate you tuning in. Have a good one. Stay connected to warchant.com, your ultimate Seminole sports source.